All right, we're going to continue reading, but I had a few questions about how much you should be writing and each time we stop to write, and how much space you should take up and those things. I want you to make sure you're writing enough to be thorough with your answers so that you can understand clearly and you can use your answers to explain or discuss with others about the book. You can also use things like a thinking map. So I'll quick show you what I have. So when I've responded, I've written enough to provide my answer and give some detail to make sure that I understand. And then I made this thinking map when we did the compare and contrast on the new home versus Africa. And that's a good visual for me to use when referencing or jogging my memory about what we've already read. I also did a thinking map so that as I continue reading, we can go back and add more of the things that are the same and different between his new home and Africa. All right, we're going to pick up where we left off. This next poem is called Welcome to Minnesota. It's growing dark when I say goodbye to the cow, and we go back to the car to drive again. At last, we park before a brown building, taller than trees. Its window eyes weep yellow light. Under a street lamp, children throw white balls at the non-dead trees. Snowballs, Dave explains. A smiling girl throws one of the balls at Dave's car. He shakes his head. Welcome to Minnesota, he says. We climb out of the car. The snowball girl's face is red. Her long brown hair is wet. Hi, she says. I'm Hannah. You the new kid? I'm not sure the answer, so I make my shoulders go up and down. Catch, she says, and she throws a cold white ball to me. It falls apart in my hands. I follow Dave across the noisy snow. 2 times I slip and fall. 2 times I rise, pants wet, knees burning. Take it slow, buddy, Dave says. Tears trace my cheeks like tiny knives. I look away so Dave will not see my shame. How can I trust a place where even the ground plays tricks? Inside, we climb up many stairs. We walk down a long hall, passing door after door. Dave knocks on one of them, and behind it, I hear the muffled voices of my past. Much time has come and gone, but still I know the worn, gray voice of my mother's sister, Nyatal. I hear another voice, too, the sound of a young man, a strong man. The door opens, and my old life is waiting on the other side. I want you to pause and answer this question. Why does Keck say, my old life is waiting on the other side? He's in a new place, about to see his cousins and his aunt. Why would he say, my old life is waiting on the other side? Pause the video, take a moment to respond in your journal before continuing. Family. I'm hugged and kissed, and there is much welcoming from my aunt. She's rounder than I remember, with a moon face to match, her black eyes set deep. My cousin, Ganwar, shakes my hand. I have learned about shaking hands at the camp. They taught us how. Be firm, but do not squeeze too hard. Still, when Ganwar grasps my hand, we are like 2 calves in the clouds, pretending we know how to fly. The man's voice belongs to Ganwar, and he has my father's height now, though Ganwar is thin and reedy, where my father was sturdy with strength. His eyes are wary and smart, always taking the measure of a person. 6 scars line his forehead, the marks of manhood. I watched Ganwar and my brother receive in our village ceremony. How jealous I had been that day, too young for such an honor. I'm already thinking of other things I can add to that thinking map. I try hard not to look at another scar. The place where Ganwar's left hand should be. Round and bare and waiting like an ugly question no one can answer. The night Ganwar lost his hand was the night I lost my father and brother. The night of men in the sky with guns. The night the earth opened up like a black pit and swallowed my old life whole. My aunt holds my face in her hands, and I see that she's crying. I know her to be a woman of many sorrows, carved down to a sharp stone by her luckless life. She isn't my mother, whose laughter is like bubbling water from a deep spring. I look into her eyes, and then my tears come hard and fast. Not for her, not for my cousin, or even myself, but because when I look there, I see my mother's eyes looking back at me. Lessons. I'll let you get settled, Dave says, but first I'll give you some lessons. Your aunt and your cousin know these things, but you'll need to know them too. Number 1, he says, always lock your door. Ganwar shows Kek what a key looks like. In my old home, my real home, my father kept us safe. We had no need for locks. Number 2, he says, this is a light switch. He pushes a tiny stick on the wall, and the room turns to night, then blinks awake. In my old home, my real home, the sun gives us light, and the stars watch us sleep. This thermostat, Dave says, helps keep you warm. He pretends to shiver to paint a picture for his words. In my old home, my real home, we were a family, and our laughter kept us warm. We didn't need a magic switch on a wall. I nod to say yes, I understand, but I wonder if I will ever understand, even if Dave stands here, pointing and talking forever. Goodbyes. I'll be going now, Kek, Dave says, but I'll see you tomorrow. I smile to show my thanking. Remember that this'll take time, he says. It isn't easy to make such a big change. Things are very different here. In the camp, I say, they called America heaven on earth. They say many things in the camps, Ganwar says. You'll see how wrong they are. Dave shakes his finger at Ganwar. You behaving lately, buddy? He asks with a smile. My aunt answers when Ganwar doesn't. He had another fight last week. Ganwar looks at the ceiling. At least I won. I'll talk to your counselor at school, Dave says. I wonder from his sound if he has said these words before. Ganwar and I will go to school together? I ask with hope. No, Dave says. Ganwar is in 11th grade, and you will be in 5th. He pats my back. Kek, if you need anything, have your aunt get in touch with me. I'm always here to help. I will be okay, I say, using my best English words. Soon, I will make snowballs. I make a big grin so that my new friend Dave will not worry. I wonder if he can tell it is a pretending smile. Kek, my aunt says, he's a good boy. He will try hard to make his new life work. I can hear her struggle to find the English words, just like I do. My aunt glances at Ganwar. You'll see, Dave. Kek finds sun when the sky is dark. Ah, says Dave, an optimist. I look away. I cannot find any sun today, I think. Dave shakes my hand, and when the door closes behind him, I'm surprised that I feel afraid. A little bit. Dave isn't like my father, not at all. But it's been good to have someone watching over me, even for just a while. It's been a long time since I've known that feeling, like a soft blanket on a night when the wind howls. Father. He had many cattle, my father, and the respect of our village, but it was his voice that made him a rich man among men. His voice was deep, like a storm coming, but gentle, like the rain ending. My people are herders. We move with the seasons, with the wet and the dry, so that the cattle may be strong and well fed. We cannot carry much with us, and so our stories don't make their homes in heavy books. We hold our stories in our songs. No one knew more songs than my father, and no one sang them with a voice as clear and sure. He knew songs of the stars and the wind, of love and betrayal, of war and regret. Always the villagers would beg, "Just one more song, Dak." Our ears longed for one more story. At night, before we went to sleep, my father would make new songs for my brother Lual and me. He sang my favorite the night he was killed. The crocodile snaps, still Keck swims. The feet bleed, still Keck dances. The calf vanishes, still Keck searches. The sandstorm blinds, still Keck laughs. My stubborn Keck, my willful son, if you tell me you can dance with the wind, if you tell me you can sleep with the lion, if you tell me you can harvest the stars, how can I doubt you, my son? I want you to pause, take some time to think about that song that Keck's dad, Dak, wrote for him. I want you to write about this question. What is Dak, Keck's dad, saying in this song? What does Dak think or believe about Keck? You may pause the video, write your response, and then press play again. Bed. We must feed you. My aunt speaks in my language the right way, with the notes where they belong. Gemwar will show you the other rooms. There are more? I ask. How can that be? You have a kingdom here. A TV machine, a sitting place, a cooking fire. The smile on Gemwar's face is a surprise. Suddenly, I remember him playing with my brother, wild boys chasing each other like lion and prey, searching out mischief in every corner of the village. Gamwar leads me to a little room for bathing, he instructs. But watch out, the water comes hot and fast. I point to the magic water pot, like the one in the flying boat. You don't go outside? He laughs. It would turn to yellow ice. I laugh too. Gamwar stares at me. Always his eyes seem to know more than I will ever know. You laugh like your brother, he says. He is quiet. His grin is gone. Too bad I do not look like him, I say, and I'm glad to see Gamwar's smile return. It means we will not talk of why I am here and Lual is not. Too bad for sure, Gamwar agrees. I have a silly face, to tell the truth of it. I have the eyelashes of a girl, as Lual and Gamwar like to remind me. My ears look like they want to fly me away, and my smile takes up most of my face. My brother was the handsome one. Everywhere girls watched him with shy, smiling eyes. Another room is waiting. On the floor lies blankets and pillows like gentle dunes. I run my hands over covers softer than a new calf's coat. Just one mattress so far, says Gamwar. His voice tells me this is not a good thing. Dave says maybe he can find more soon. And you and I will sleep in the other room. We'll take turns on the sofa. Sofa? I repeat. It's a long chair. You can sleep on, Gamwar explains. You don't need to share, I say. I will try not to get in the way. You know you are welcome here, Ganwar says, but I cannot tell if he means his words. It's a strange pain to be with those you belong to and feel you don't belong. Carefully, I take a step onto the blanket cloud. I stumble, then stand, then jump and fall, and jump some more. Ganwar shakes his head. You haven't changed, my cousin, he says. You're still a crazy little boy. I stop my jumping. I am not a little boy, I think. Not anymore. But I kept the words in my heart.